it fills out this table. You have 8, -6, -2, -4, multiply to be 8, -2 plus -4 gives you -6. Okay, so now what do we do with that? That's the big question. Now that you've found the numbers, what's the use? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take this, you're going to rewrite it, and you're not going to touch the two ends. X squared and 8 are going to stay the same. All right? But the middle, you see this -6x? That right there? You're going to rewrite it. It's still going to be -6x, but you're going to use these two numbers instead. So watch. I'm going to write -2x minus 4x. So all you have to do now is agree with me that this is that. Do you all agree? This is that. And you're sitting there going, well, why in the world would you do that, right? Why would I do that? Why would I take a single number, -6x, and break it into two numbers? Like, what's the point? Seems like I'm making it more complicated. What's that? Well, go for it. No one's going to walk out of here laughing at you. Why? Yeah, exactly. Because now we have 4 terms, don't we? And now we can do the grouping. All right? So let's do that. Let's put our little slash mark. Where does our slash mark go? Right after the 2x, right there. This one's going to be a little tricky. Let's see how this goes. What can I factor out of just the first two terms? X, and what am I left with? X minus 2. Are we all right with that? Now, what I've told you to do next is write a plus sign, right? Okay, now look at your second two terms. It's where things are getting a little bit tricky. What's a GCF for the second two terms? 4, right? You could pull a 4 out, couldn't you? Now don't write this down, but let me pull a 4 out. What would happen if I pull a 4 out? Don't write this down. What would I have here? I need to get back -4x, right? So what would I have to have here? -x, and then I would have to get +8, so I'd do +2. Y'all agree? If I pull +4 out, that's what I would have here. These don't match. They don't match, do they? Do y'all see that? So, I want you to approach this a slightly different way. I want you to try it this way. I think most students, this works better. What would you love to have right here? What would you like to see right here? You'd like to see x minus 2, right? That's what you'd like to see. And now try and come up with a number that would work, that when you multiply it through, you get back this. -4 would work. Do y'all see that? Instead of you thinking about a number, like what number do I need to pull out, think about what you need here, and then what number do I need to go back through to give me this. Do y'all see the difference? So with that, I can say -4 here. Now, this is where things can get a little weird because we have a plus minus. But plus minus, adding a negative is the same as subtraction, isn't it? Okay, so what would my next line be? This is this, this is this, this is what goes out here in front? Whatever they have in common, x minus 2. And then what goes in the second parentheses? This x. And then plus minus 4 is the same as -4. There we go. There it is. Now, I realize that there are students in this class probably that can go straight from here to here in their head without doing any work. And if you can, more power to you, all right? But I have to present it in a way that if you've never seen this before, you can get to the answer. Because getting from here to here in your head, it just takes time. You have to have enough time in a class to do what we call guess and check and kind of repetition, and we just don't have enough time in this class to spend 3 weeks on factoring trinomials. So this is a method that'll work. All right, let's try the next example. How are we doing on time? Let's do an example that's a little more complicated.
You should just take the mouse pad.
What's that?
You should just take the mouse
I know, I've already thought about how I'm going to do this. I was just looking to see what example I liked. Did someone say something? What? Thought I heard someone request one up here. Which one of those looks good to you that you want to do?
22.
You want to do 22? Yeah, that's kind of the way I was looking there. 22. Let's see here. 5x squared minus 14x plus 8. So there are some students, like I said, that could probably go from this straight to the answer. This one I think would even be tough for those students that could go. They probably have to like try a couple of different things to get it. But let's try our AC method. First of all, does it look like, do we have a GCF? Can we pull anything out? No? No GCF. Okay, 3 terms. AC method, it looks like x squared, x number, right? So now we take that number, multiply that number, 8 times 5, 40. And then the number down here? Negative 14.
Do you do over the 5 though? Like on the sides?
On the sides?
Mm-hmm.
Do what?
I don't know. For some reason I have a picture in my head from high school that on the sides, since the A has like
Yeah.
multiple.
So there's probably, I've probably seen in my lifetime maybe 8 to 10 different methods of AC, like different variations. In fact, like I had my own method that I used that I kind of adapted myself. And I used to teach it, but then I realized everyone's got all these different methods. So yes, there are ways to do this, but I'm going to do it the same way that everyone else teaching here does it. That way we're consistent. All right, can anyone come up with the numbers? -4, -10. So just realize I'm kind of skipping this step. This is where you would list out your numbers and you try and come up with your candidates. Now, is it okay? Will this method still work if you did the other way, like -10 here, -4 here? Good news, yes. It doesn't matter what order these two numbers are in. So what I say you do over here now? Yeah, so leave the ends alone, right? This front end you leave, the back end you leave. It's the middle term right here. It's going to be rewritten using those two numbers. So how am I going to write the middle? -14x is going to be written how? -4x, so don't forget to put the x there, right? -4x, and then minus 10x, or -10x. There you go. So now you've created the 4 terms. Then you split it. We split it here, and we look for a GCF on those first 2. Just x. So we pull the x. What are we left with? 5x minus 4. Are we all on board with that? Now here's that next critical step that I said we're going to kind of change our thinking a little bit. I'm going to put a little plus sign here, but now I'm going to put the parentheses and I'm going to put 5x minus 4 in here. I want that to happen, right? And I need to come up with a number that would make this go back to that. -2. You need a -2 out there, don't you? You have to turn 5x into -10x. You've got to turn -4 into +8. So if you multiply this by -2 out here, -2 would come through and give you that, wouldn't it? So this becomes whatever they had in common. And then over here, x minus 2. There you go. Yeah, I think we should call it a day. Let me see here. We've got, what I would do is I would maybe go back and work the problems. Well, let me see what the homework looks like. Trying to see how much of this homework you should try. Ooh, it's all clumped together. What I think you should do is probably go back to the problems we were doing in class. Finish up the ones here from the first set that I didn't do. And on these trinomials, we stopped at number 22. Maybe do the ones above 22 that I hadn't done. And then come back with any questions. We'll continue with more trinomials. Then we'll do difference of squares, sum of cubes stuff. And then we'll be ready to move on to the next section, which is solving equations by factoring. So when we get to this, you cannot do this next section. It'll be impossible for you to do the next section if you can't factor. You have to be able to factor to do this. All right? All right. Have a good rest of your day.